Happy Tuesday, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Petovich here on this February 24th for your live weather impact. We had another cold day today. The clouds did not do us any favors blocking out that sunshine this afternoon. But boy, the sunset's getting later. I'm loving it. This is our Lylesville camera in Anson County. Just had the sunset. It was at 6:14 tonight. It's getting later and later. And believe it or not, we're less than 2 weeks away from the time change. I don't know if you guys are ready for that, but we're going to be springing forward that first full weekend in March. So that's a week from Sunday. Hard to imagine that's coming up pretty quick. And this Sunday, it's March 1st. It's almost here, guys. It's coming up quickly. You can see the beautiful views out there. High Bright Mountain looking more west. You can kind of see that twilight. Remember, you get about 30, 40 minutes of twilight this time of year after sunset. The high today, it was not warm. 42 degrees, well below our average high of 59. The record 80 today. The morning low was frigid this morning, 25, and that was one of the warm spots because we had quite a few of teens and lower 20s in other parts. But that high cirrus deck coming off the mountains, we got northwest flow, and when it came over the mountains, it produced these wave clouds, which are really mid and high level clouds, kind of blocked out the sun most of the day. So temperatures got stuck in the low 40s as opposed to closer to 50. Because if you have full sun this time of year, it's going to get a little warmer than it was today. It's cold in the northeast, all that snowpack. The cold air is still in place. We're going to be checking in Philadelphia coming up in about 8 minutes here. It's still only 41 right now with upper 30s in a few other spots, low 30s in the mountains. Overnight tonight, now the clouds, they're a curse during the day, but at night, they totally help you out. They act like a blanket. They trap in a little bit of warmth we had today. So don't expect a huge drop off in temperatures tonight. And also the wind shifting to the west, southwest should help us out a little bit. And that's certainly going to help us tomorrow. Southwest wind, even with clouds, will blowtorch us back up into the low 60s. If we get any breaks in that cloud cover tomorrow, look out. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s certainly possible because we have a warm front pushing through the area. That warm front's going to push up to the northeast, shift those winds to the southwest. That's also going to moisten things up. And yeah, eventually we're going to see some rain. And boy, do we need it. We are still in extreme to severe drought. So every drop of rain we get coming up on Thursday, we'll take it. Not everyone's going to get super lucky. This looks to be kind of a hit or miss stuff. In fact, I'll show you the future cast here in right now, but in a second I'll show you the actual totals we could see. So Wednesday night, the rain starts. You see a little pink in the mountains. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little sleet mix in initially, but eventually this turns to all rain for everybody by Thursday morning. Could be a wet morning commute on Thursday. That rain pushes out by the middle of the day. Should be dry by Thursday evening with just a few showers south. Friday's trending drier, so look for some sunshine to return. Now, talked about the rain chances, okay? Here's the amounts. Not everyone's going to get a good soaking, but anybody who gets close to an inch of rain, that will help tremendously with our drought conditions. Now, Thursday, typically when we get our drought monitor update, obviously the data runs Tuesday to Tuesday, so none of this will count in that. Don't expect it to be much of an improvement. In fact, it might get a little worse. Now, talked about that shift in the wind. Southwest winds, warmer air. So everybody likes warmer air. That's great. Bad news, blows a lot of tree pollen in from Georgia, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina. Blows some of those pollens up here as well as our local tree pollen, which is starting to come out. And you're seeing a lot of budding on the trees. Cedar, elm, all their cedar's the worst. I mean, that is the high allergen pollen. There's a reason we call it cedar fever. When you see a ton of that, you start to feel it pretty quickly. And yes, this weekend, meteorologically, climatologically, it is the beginning of spring officially. Starting March 1st, all the data counts as spring, and that's officially the end of winter. Now, there's astronomical seasons, right? The equinox, the solstices, those are separate. That has to do with the sun angle, has nothing to do with the weather. For weather purposes, March 1st is the beginning of spring, and so all that data counts. And here's your averages: 60 on March 1st. By the end of spring, which is the end of May, the average high is 83. So you see, that's a huge jump. I mean, 23-degree jump in temperatures from the beginning to end. It's one of the most extreme seasons of the year for us. In fact, March is the most extreme month of the year. We could have spring and sometimes winter in the same week, and that might be the case here in the next 7 days. We also can still get snow, and we can get severe weather. In fact, look at the next 7 days. There's your taste of spring. Temperatures jump into the 70s, but then by Monday, you're right back into the 50s. So a real good taste of what you expect in March. March also is our windiest month of the year, so get used to that wind. It is very, very gusty. Also, spring fire season. So got to keep an eye on that potential. So the weekend, never too early to look. I mean, it's Tuesday. We'll start looking ahead to the weekend. 67 on Saturday, but Sunday, I think everyone has their eyes on that day. 76 degrees on March 1st. We have warm air last week, but it was during the week. This week, it's on the weekend, so people are going to enjoy this a lot more. Certainly a little taste of spring, but don't get used to it. You know, we're not quite there all the way yet because your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast shows pretty significant cool down for Monday and Tuesday, back into the lower 50s. The rain chances this week really going to be confined to Thursday. I have a small chance Friday, but kind of trending that down just a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see those chances subside even more as we go through the next couple of days. We'll go 10 days into the future and let you see what it looks like long range here. Those low 50s early next week, and then we're back into the 60s as soon as Wednesday, Thursday, into Friday, which is a little closer to our normal high for this time of year. Hopefully, we get some more rain on Tuesday. I'm not super optimistic about that. As I mentioned, we'll get the drought monitor update coming up on Thursday. I know a lot of folks have already commented, hey, my yard is wet or the ground's wet. We're going to drought, folks. It doesn't matter if there's moisture at the surface. The ground is super dry. The lakes, the streams, bone dry. I mean, I looked at Lake Norman this past weekend. Some of the coves have just completely dried up, so we desperately need the rain. It's been a long time since we've seen severe and extreme drought like we've seen here across the Carolinas, so hopefully we'll see a lot more rain. As far as temperatures, though, going forward, we can look even longer range. The 6 to 10 day outlook shows the warmth beginning to kind of push back west with a little cooler air in the northeast. We'll go 8 to 14 days into the future, and we can show you it looks like a lot of the country is going to be warming up. So right now, if you're wondering what March, at least early March, is going to look like, I think we're going to stay on the warm side of average, which, as I mentioned, is in the low 60s. So hopefully we will see some rain with that warm air to help out with the drought, because now that we're in spring on March 1st, the growing season is going to get going. You're going to be mowing your grass. You're going to start noticing the drought conditions. Those could really get bad here as we get into March and April. So stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to talk more about the Northeast blizzard, the historic blizzard, and Tim Buckley will be joining me coming up in 2 minutes.